Hey everybody, it's your Loco Sirens, me, Lizzie,
I'm Krista.
and we are here after a 2 week hiatus to talk about the comics that came out last Wednesday, July 8th, and talk about the two movies that we saw in the theaters and are all talked about lately, which is the Mandolorian and Grogu and Supergirl. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna do our top five of the week. I'm betting that we have a couple of duplicates because it was a good week for some comics that I know we both read the titles for. It was a tough week for me to pick
Yeah.
five.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah, so I don't know about you, but yeah, it was a tough week for me because there was a new one that came out that was excellent. Um, and I had three Marvel titles come out this week, and all three of them were good, but only one of them was great. You know,
Mhm.
so they are not. So they didn't make the other two didn't make my top five. Um, Anyway, I'm gonna let
Did,
since I introed, I'm gonna let you go first on the comics. Let's flip us out here. All right, take us away.
all right, so starting with DC, I of course have to do Absolute Batman because it is the backstory of my girl Harley Quinn.
I was gonna show that. That's yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so
Oh my
good.
god.
What did you think though about the big reveal at the end? Spoiler alert, people.
Spoiler alert. I don't know how I feel. It was such a good twist, and I don't know how I
Mm-hmm.
feel. We also don't know if it's true.
True. Right.
Everybody's such an unreliable narrator. But if that's truly who her dad is, and you get the whole like kind of like neglected daughter kind of vibe, it makes sense why she's a street punk.
Absolutely. I also really like the one panel. You've got it open. It's towards the end when her mom does the reveal and she's dressed like the old, she's got the Harlequin hat.
She's got the Harley Quinn hat, and she was also gifted a mallet.
Yes, when her mother gave her the mallet, I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, it was a great issue.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was just to me, that was just kind of like icing on the cake right there.
I love her.
So I was like such homage to uh Batman the animated series
Yes,
and
which is my favorite.
and an homage to the original Harley Quinn, but such a unique and amazing Scott Snyder is
Killing it.
he is killing it with this series. Um, uh, yeah, it's
Ooh,
just mm,
I do want to pause real quick, continuing my thing since we're on the topic. What are your thoughts on them doing an absolute Batman TV series? Do you
I
think
have
it's too
mixed feelings. Okay,
do you
so
think
I
it's too early?
I think it's too early. We are at issue 22.
Yeah.
Scott Schneider just announced yesterday or the day before that it's 50 issues. So
At
we're
least.
almost half at least.
Yeah.
And it's DC's killing it with all of their titles. All of them, really. Like there was complaints that they did Martian Manhunter so short.
It was
And even
so
though it
good.
was the least selling out of them all, right?
It was. If I loved that series, talk about unreliable narrator. That one was so good, but I think it I'm glad that one didn't overstay its welcome. Each issue was strong. So, it may not have been everyone's favorite or the most interesting to some
Yeah.
people, but I definitely think it maintained, which is hard to do, and I think it ended very strong. And I
Okay.
don't
Okay.
I also don't think that's the last we're gonna see of
I
some
agree, because I
characters.
think that there's a reason all the way back in 2024 when we got all in the
Hmm.
evil, the absolute evil.
Yeah.
There's a reason they included all these villains from each title. And we
Yes.
haven't gotten that played out 100% yet. We've gotten dribbles of it in Wonder Woman,
Yes.
dribbles of it in Superman, even less dribbles in Batman. Batman's probably giving you the least because it's only been focusing on Jack Grimm's past
Yeah.
and or what's happening in the future, currently.
Right.
Um, Back to your original question, I think it's too soon. I think that they need to let them tell this story to its completion of that 50 issue arc, this
Yes.
overreaching arc, which we already know from the little cover that we got last month with the three connecting the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We know another Trinity's coming. Like we got that brief glimpse in KO, right? They've
Yeah.
already teased that. They've teased um we'll get to that either in one of your next ones or when I go. They teased some stuff in the latest Catwoman, right? So they've teased some stuff in Green Arrow. Now, I'm not reading Green Lantern, but I've also heard that they've teased stuff in Green Lantern of this overreaching where all of these characters are going to come together. So I would like to at least see that play out before it comes out on screen. I do think if they're going to do it animated is the only way to do it. And then it's really going to depend on who they cast as the voices to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to depend on how far into the story they've gotten, how true to the story the show is, and who they cast voice wise, right? See, I keep hearing James Gunn, which he said really early on, that he was tired of these multiple people playing the same character across the animated universes versus the live action. And he made this comment that if the person is doing the voice in his world of universe of James Gunn and DC, if somebody's doing the voice on an animated version, that's pretty much who you're going to see in the live action version. And like he just cast Anson Mount. Do you know who that is? He plays Captain Christopher Pike on Star Trek Strange New World.
Oh,
He was Black Bolt in
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the Marvel Madness movie, but he also was Black Bolt in the Inhumans TV show.
Yes.
Um, he's gonna voice Batman in The Brave and the Bold.
Okay.
So is he going to be our next Batman? I really hope not, because I didn't like his Batman. He voiced Batman in one of the Justice Leagues, one of the animated movies from the like 2015s. He did the voice of Batman, and I really didn't like him. I honestly like Jensen Ackles. Nobody can top Kevin Conroy, but we can't have Kevin Conroy. Jason
R.I.P.
Mara or Jensen Ackles really to me did good Batman voice wise.
He's amazing.
Anyway, so that's what it's going to depend
Under
on.
the Red
Is
Hood.
like I said,
Yeah.
um, who they cast as the voice, how it's written, does it stay true to the comic? Because it'd have to be mature audiences only because of the content, right?
Dude, that first issue
Don't
of
dummy it
that
down for
Batman is
TV,
violent.
right? Yeah, and and the art and how much of the story, God forbid we ever get back into a James R. Martin situation where the shows go beyond what was written on the page and now all of a sudden something is going to be completely different because the writers aren't going to change what they had planned, but the writers of the show did something else. So anyway, that's my take on that. um On to your next comic.
I got more stuff. Yeah, I disagree with the idea that every Batman needs to stay the same across the universe, because you could have an amazing voice actor and an amazing physical actor, and it's hard to find someone who is a jack of all trades.
What?
That's
Right.
why there's so many different mediums. So I don't want my I don't need that. Like, I don't need Lego Batman and animated Batman and manga Batman and like live action Batman. I don't need everybody to be the same. That's kind of the beauty of multiple mediums
I agree
and
with you
everything.
100%.
So,
And
or else we're gonna have The Rock playing Maui in every version, and it's kind of terrible. Like, you don't need, stay in your lane what you're really good at, because I would rather have a really really good Batman in each category than
agreed.
have one good actor do a whatever job, at different things and
Yeah.
possibly kill individual groups. So I would rather like get people who are really good at what,
At what you want out of that
yeah,
particular Batman at any particular time, if we're talking about Batman, right?
yeah.
And the Batman of the Absolute Universe is not the Batman Bruce Wayne of the normal universe. So the voice has really got to
Well,
express that,
the
right?
absolute universe is also very specific. It's not like,
Yes.
it's not the current running series. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
also not on par with anything that Gunn is doing. Like, Absolute Batman, if he meets like David Cornsweet's like Superman, he's gonna make him cry. So
He really would.
he's gonna make him
He
cry.
really would. I'm
So
really hoping Gunn doesn't stick to that he said, and he said it really early on, right? Because that made
yeah.
a lot of people think that Kaylee Coco was going to be Harley Quinn, because
Oh
he's
yeah.
already said that the cartoon on HBO is part of his universe. Well, that's who does the voice for Harley Quinn,
He
and
does a
she's been adamant, I am not the live action Harley Quinn, you know.
she does a
So
fantastic job with her voice because she's really good at the voice acting. I can't She's a good actress, but she is not Harley
not
Quinn.
Harley.
I'm also very
No.
biased with that one.
No, 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 no.
She's not Harley.
So yeah, so no, I 100% agree with you. I hope they wait. I hope we don't see it, given that they said it's another 2 years. If they're gonna go 50, it's another 2.5 years, right? Well, it'll take them a year and a half just to put the first season together,
It
right?
took them a while to do some good
Right.
animation,
So
get all the voice actors and
hopefully
everything together. Yeah,
they'll
and
get to their 50 long before we actually see the
yeah,
absolute universe. So, but
I
yeah, I agree with you. I think that they should stick with what works for whatever medium they're in.
yeah,
Because, like, if they were to do, say, a live action version of um, Justice League Unlimited,
mhm,
not the comic, but the cartoon, the old
yeah,
DC animated universe one, what you were saying about Superman, David, whatever his, I can't pronounce his last name.
corn sweet, I think.
Yeah,
Corn
corn
sweet.
sweet. He could not pull that role off. Not that Superman.
Not that specific one.
Not
There's
that
different Superman.
specific Superman, exactly. Like, I don't think he could. I don't think he could pull off the Superman in the absolute universe. That Clark is extremely different.
Yeah.
So, anyway, before we take up 3/4 of our show, just talking about the very first issue that you got, anything else on the Absolute Batman announcement that you want to add before we go on?
Just that we've talked about it in the shop a lot. We're gonna continue talking about it, about how if it's too early, I don't think it's too early to necessarily announce it, because it's a good time to try to get some like feelers out and see how people are reacting to it. I'm with you though. I just hope that they, don't have it come out like too early.
Right. Oh, yeah,
The
true.
money was like,
It's
I agree.
totally true.
I love that movie. I play
Yeah.
it for like
Yeah,
when
it was
when our team
so
is
it
drinking
was
and
so
stuff.
cute.
I
That's
love
one of
that
my
movie.
favorite versions of Catwoman.
There you go. When in doubt, Lego.
Lego,
Lego
absolutely.
always nails it.
Absolutely. All right, so what's your number 2, darling?
Your girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the
Nice. We have to mirror you though. Hold on.
let me mirror it.
Yeah, mirror it because you're backwards.
Do do do. Please hold.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Ta-da!
Now you can actually see
There
it.
we go. Yes, I like that cover.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, did I get that cover? I don't think I got that cover.
You had to. You got like every cover, babe.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I did. I was still kind of out of it this past week, so it was kind of like in and out, because I had the
Yeah.
dog with me. And I was like, I had 8 other places to go. I gotta get in and out.
We had a lot going on last Wednesday, Mama.
Yeah,
So you're fine.
so we can go ahead and talk about that one now because
Mhm.
it's also on my list. Those are my top 2. So we'll have the conversation now, and then when it's my turn, I can just through those.
Sounds good.
Um, take us back to this for a second. I loved it. I loved that the Calico Cats are, or the Calico Strays, or however they're calling them, are is basically birds of prey.
Yes.
It
That's
was so cool. It was so cool to see names that we know. You
yes.
know, yeah. I I'm looking forward to the one shot about Cassandra Cain. I loved the reference to Helena Bertinelli and Holly and
My girl.
Victoria Sage. Vic Sage, get it? Ha ha ha. I was just like, oh my God, this is so awesome because the question has been Renee Montoya for a little while now,
Yeah.
right? So it was great to see them leave the question female, but make her Victoria Sage instead of Vic Sage. So
Mhm.
I thought that was really great. Um, I, uh, uh, that I also like that they had Vic Sage as the tech person, and Holly's still f up. Excuse my language. Even in this universe, Holly's a screwed up individual.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I'm just loving this version of Selena. Yeah, loving it. It's so good. She's so different yet so the same,
Mhm.
right? I love that that her and Bruce's kind of roles are reversed, right? She's wealthy, she's the one that's got multiple homes, multiple hideouts, multiple cat caves, and yes, they called it a cat cave.
I love that too.
Yeah, it's really well done. I don't know how much is Shay Grayson and how much is Scott Schneider. They
Mhm.
both share writing credit. I don't care. It's amazing. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the one shot about Cassandra Cain. I hope we see more of this version's Birds of Prey. Um, because Barbara in this is very different as well. She's a cop, she's middle aged, she's kind of a heavy set um, woman of color,
Mhm.
right? I mean, she's just very different. And I really kind of hope to see them roll her in to, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the Birds of Prey has incorporated all these different women at one time or another. So, yeah, I'm waiting to see if are we going to get a picture of Diane Lance in her past that's somehow tied to this group of women too? That would be really cool. Are they going to bring some way to bring Barbara in. Yeah, I'm invested. You know, two issues in, can't wait for the rest of the four to come out. So, and loving the art, loving the new look. Right, I love that she's Afro Brazilian. Um, I actually really like that Babs Tar played into that in
Yeah.
Siren.
Yes.
Right, I kind of really like her um as a person of color, right,
Oh yeah.
instead of this poor white girl from the wrong side of the tracks, which is a trope in and of itself, right? And it's nice to see um them using people of color in all shapes and sizes across both publishers, DC, Marvel, Image, all of them really. It's really nice to just see them really playing into that they are just as strong and capable and can be even better,
Yes.
right? Than
And be the
the
lead.
tropes that we're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get really upset when I hear or read some of the comic and community um, start talking about how everything's woke, right? And one, I think that word is way overused
Are we done with
for
that
people
word?
that do not understand at all what they're saying, right? Because I think that we're being more genuine to who we are as a nation, who we are as a people, what our values are on the whole, politics aside, which is crazy right now, totally different discussion, not for this channel. But as a whole, that's what, thinking about our 250th as Americans, right? That's really what blends us together, right? We used to be proud of the fact that we're a melting pot, right? At the 76 one, that's what everybody, it was like the big talking point, right? What a melting pot the world is. And now it seems like we've moved away from that as a society now on this. We need to be completely colorblind. And while I don't think that that's 100% a bad thing, I think that the way that the comic community, the writers, the creators, the artists, the way that they're going about making anybody, no matter what their race or background is or what they look like, they are telling great stories,
Yeah.
right? They're making these people believable. They're making them strong. They're making them resilient. They're making them overcome horrific odds, right?
Yeah.
Just what we want out of our superheroes,
Yeah.
right? So I do think that the noisy fandom that likes to claim that word, right, is missing that side of the picture, right? Is that these voices weren't heard before and they should be. These people, it shouldn't matter, right? It really just, my dad used to say, you cut us all open, we bleed the same color.
Yeah.
know, and nothing else matters. We're all people, that we're all different. There, some of us are queer, some of us are trans, some of us are black, some are white, some are purple, some are red, some are yellow. We're all the same. It's one human race. And I really think that comic creators are really, really getting that and showing that in their work. That is my tangent.
I agree. And
Uh,
that blackout, that like protest from, what was it, like a month or two ago, where they were doing a countdown saying like, hey, there hasn't been any black lead characters in a DC comic in quite a while, guys. What the hell is up with that? That didn't last too long because DC was like, oh, heard. Sorry.
yeah,
They were like, yeah, no, you right. They weren't quite that, apologetic about it. They were a little more like, oh no, we got stuff coming, it's just cooking. And we were like, how long? Because there's there was like a countdown or a count up of like actually tracking how long it's been. It's
I
like
heard they're even going to be doing a Vixen. I can't wait for that. If they
that'll
do a
be
Vixen, even if it's just give me a 6-issue run, I will buy all 6 issues. I'll probably buy the variants.
yeah, I would.
You know,
We want to
please,
see
one of
we
my
want to
favorite
see stories.
characters,
We want to see
right?
real stories. We don't want the same characters over and over. We want new interpretations, new characters in general. And like you were saying, I like characters from all over the world, so it needs to be all over the place. We need like
Exactly,
representation.
100%. And I also think that I will get into this when we go into our pop culture thing at the end, but I did want to say I did read an excellent article this week from CBR that talked about what DC is doing right that Marvel still isn't getting, right? Which is something that you just said. They are listening to their fan base.
Yeah.
And when and they're saying, yes, we hear you, and now here's this, right? Instead of regurgitating these same stories over and over and over again, just giving us different or takes on the origin or whatever, which is more what Marvel's doing right now.
Yeah.
Or they're trying too hard to make everything interconnected on Marvel's side. So anyway, we can get further into that discussion in our pop culture section because it also leans into the two movies that we were going to talk about. But I do think that in comics specifically, if this is what woke is, give me more, because I like seeing all of these different representations of people in comics. I love seeing that. I don't want everybody to be a white guy and a white chick. I hate to say it like that, but I really just don't want to see that all the time. I'm okay with with you leaving the three standards as they are, but give us more of these other characters, right? Give us these new twists on these other characters. I think that's what the Absolute Universe is doing so well, is they took all these characters that we know so well and they just totally flipped the script on what we thought we knew about them and made everybody so different, and we're all just eating it up.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I love this street punk Harley. Love her.
I love her so much.
Oh my gosh.
I
yes.
love this interpretation.
Yes.
She's so fun.
She is so fun. So fun.
Yeah. I'm really digging it. I'm loving this whole universe. I love the different interpretations of people. All of it is just so fun.
Yeah. No, I do. Okay, so back to your top. Oh my gosh, we've only gone through two, but these will, when it's my turn for these ones, they'll go fast. So
they'll go quick.
All right, let me hold on. Let me get you back big. All right, there you go.
So this one's more of a honorary mention anyway. I just really like the cover and it's topical for today.
Okay.
Is for Supergirl.
You put that in my box. I did not get it because I really don't have any of her, and I was like, not going to spend the money. But that is one of the better covers of all of the swimsuits.
Because you were getting a couple of swimsuit ones.
Yeah.
But I just love. I love Crypto right here.
Yes, he's so cute and he looks so happy. He's just, I'm shaking and getting you all wet.
Yeah.
It's a really another good representation on how well cast Millie Alcott was to Supergirl.
Agreed. We will get into that later.
Looks just like her on that cover.
And then going into my indies, I have Aladdin from Disney.
Oh.
So Aladdin is one of my all-time favorite.
That came out when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it came out in 1992. I'm 1991.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this movie. And this, I don't know if anyone else out there was this kind of a Disney nerd. I watched the Disney TV shows, and there was an Aladdin TV show.
My daughter watched them too.
So this this comic series, this is only issue number 1, but so far it already feels a lot like the TV show, and that just made
Okay.
my Disney heart very happy. And I
Cool.
love Aladdin. So had to do that
Yeah.
one. So again, these will go quick because this is technically it's like a reprint, like it's a redistribution.
Yeah.
Words are hard tonight. Of the black and white duo power bomb.
Ooh, I like that. Getting ready to, what is that?
So he's diving. He's like
He's
it's
stage
wrestling.
diving, right?
Yeah, yeah. So these two are wrestling each other, and she ran out into the audience, and he's doing a power bomb on top of her.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I
So
love that black and white.
yeah. So and this is by DWJ Daniel Warren Johnson. And the art in it is so good. It's one of my favorite stories. Vince at the shop, shout out to Vince. He's the one that like forced me to read it, and it had me laughing and sobbing. It was
Hi,
very, very
Brian.
good.
Glad to see you. Happy Sunday.
So this is issue 1 out of 4, and
That's really cute.
I'm very happy that they're redoing it.
Yeah.
And then my final one is Vampirates.
It's on my list too.
I figured it would be.
Yeah, it was
What
so
else do
good.
you need?
Oh my gosh. And vampires. Yeah, they really, yeah, and they were knocking it out of the park in the 90s and early 2000s for TV. I
Yeah.
mean, they were so different than Nickelodeon being on the parent side of that, right? Nickelodeon, like my daughter shared a thing the other day about Gullah Gullah Island and its premiere, and oh my God, my daughter was gaga for Gullah Gullah
I
Island,
love
right?
Gullah Gullah
And
Island with
yeah,
the big
she watched
dog.
Harriet the Spy. She watched, Clarissa Explains It All,
Clark
Doug,
the
the
Window.
Rugrats. She grew up on all that stuff, but
Me
she
too.
also grew up on all of those Disney shows. The one that had Shia LaBeouf, and it was about him and his
Steven
sister.
Stevens.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then she would remember the Disney movies, like the made for TV movies, where the guy that played Bjorn on the Vikings, he was a really young and he played like this mer kid. There was
Oh
a
my
movie.
God. 13th year.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then there was
Anyway, and she grew up on all those
oh my
Disney,
gosh, Luck of the
just like
Irish.
Fuzzy Walk was saying, she grew up watching all of those Nickelodeon shows, all of those Disney Toon Studios, and it's funny because as a latchkey kid, as Generation X, I was one of those kids that had a key around my neck, came home from school, and the house was empty, and I grew up on a different set of cartoons, right? Grew up on the Flintstones and I Love Lucy and all the 50s and 60s shows.
Like Hanna-Barbera.
But I was so grateful that my kids, because as an adult, you can really see how those were made for adults. They were not made for kids, right?
Listen, coming over our heads. When we got older, we're like, whoa.
They were really, both Disney and Nickelodeon at the time, they were really doing content that was amazing for young children, that they were, influencing, because like I couldn't have Barney in my house. Like I didn't want my daughter watching Barney, but I didn't care that she watched Gullah Gullah Island. Oh my gosh. Yes, at 100%.
Ren and Stimpy, man.
100%. My son was very lucky that he was a boy, because I wanted to name him Wren, like the bird, Wren. And because Ren and Stimpy was so huge in 1993, right? People were like, "You're gonna name him after a rat dog cartoon?" I'm like, "No." But anyway, he ended up being a boy, and he ended up being William and not Ren. So
it all worked out.
It all worked out.
Man.
Oh my gosh. So Vampirates.
Wow.
Wow.
Very, very good.
Great, solid first issue.
The art is
The art
stunning.
was stunning. So I got a different
Cover.
yeah,
Like, look at the art.
I know. I just, oh my gosh. And
It's
the
so pretty.
blood in it was just the red is very vivid. Um yeah, I can't wait to see where this is going and how many issues it'll be.
Me too.
Because this was a really good, and give me pirates, give me vampires. I've actually played a vampire pirate,
I believe it.
so I've written that in role play. So I've written many a pirate in role play. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So that was your fifth.
Those are my picks.
All right, I'm gonna flip
Mhm.
over, and of course mine will be a little bit shorter. Come on, doesn't want to flip. There we go. There we go. Because I have three of the same. Um, so first off, same cover even. We got
It's so
the
good.
Harley Quinn,
It's such a fun
Absolute
cover.
Batman 19, or 22, excuse me. I love this image of her. Um, it's such an homage, but yet so unique to this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that combination of both, because you got the checkers and the diamonds and the right makeup and the blue and the pink and the red. Yeah. So and we talked at length about how good this is. I really love the flip that the Robins are with Jack,
I
and
know.
the Red Hoods are with Batman.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Um, Here are two of the covers that I got for Absolute Catwoman. This is the 1 in 25,
It's
and
so
I
gorgeous.
really loved this one. And then I also got this one, who is by Mirka Andolfo.
Yes. One of my
Really,
favorite
really cool, with
artists.
the broken glass and the
Mhm.
reflection in her
And the
helmet.
bat
Um,
signal in there.
so we've already talked at length about that. They had me hooked at it when she appeared in Absolute Batman 13. But she will always be, my she's supposed to be with Bruce in any iteration. Um, so yeah, I'm hook, line, and sinker. I can't wait to see where they're going with the Birds of Prey angle and how these next four issues will play out. Third for me, last for DC, is Emperor Aquaman, and this is the variant cover by Ariel Diaz,
Yes.
and it's so beautiful. This story is so amazing. I love the fact that his mother-in-law, who is like a sea witch, has gathered all of these enemies to go after him. They really have no clue how powerful he now is. Like, there's this scene in this where Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman come, and they're like, Arthur, like, maybe we should talk. We haven't heard from you in a while, and you seem kind of a little more powerful than you were last time we saw you. And he kind of really calls them out on it. He's like, I don't know if you can even comprehend how powerful I am. I can't even comprehend it yet. I haven't even tested my limits yet, but I'm still who I am. And, Batman being the skeptic that he is, I thought that was kind of, there's a couple tongue in cheek lines, um, with, you know, he was like, uh, he's talking to Hal Jordan and Hawkman and Batman, and they're all arguing that he's always been balanced, and um, they're like, but we're here for you. And Mirror's like, yeah. Batman's like, I agree. I'm sorry for my wariness, but I like to be prepared. And Arthur's like, oh, so in case I turn evil. And he said, if that happened, Batman, there is nothing you could or anyone could do to prepare. It's like, wow. Because he really is like so powerful now that he controls like this blue, this energy of all water in the entire universe. So, um, and one of the people that's against him is his own daughter grown up and he doesn't know it. And it's just got everything in it. There's, got the love stuff between him and Mira, and he's, he's trying to figure out how powerful he is and do the right thing, and he's already kind of sort of being corrupted a little bit. So yeah, it's been wonderful. I Jason Aaron Adams, Jeremy Adams is writing it, and it's I got hooked back in issue 13 and then went back and read all the first 12, and now they're on 19, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's it for me for DC.
Nice.
Next, I have Marvel, and as I said, so I got Sorcerer Supreme, Daredevil, and Black Cat this past week, and all three were good, but only Black Cat was excellent.
Yes, I
And
agree.
this is the A cover.
It's so good.
It's so cute.
Him with the knife and her with the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've had a thing with Marvel and their abuse of dogs. So this whole thing started because she ran over Punisher's dog.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make her pay. And she's trying to figure out why exactly he's immune to her luck manipulation.
Yeah.
It's very hilarious. It's very entertaining. They're beating the crap out of each other. Every time one thinks they got one up on the other one kind of proves that they don't. And then at the very end, another real big bad shows up. So now they have to team up together again, which is like the third time this has happened in the second time this happened in the 3 issues so far that they've been in together. I kind of like though that they're continually teaming her up with other people, because unlike Selena, her just thieving gets old fast. I don't know why it's different for me with Selena and Felicia. I don't know why, because I think Selena's better on her own than she ever is when they team her up with anybody, including Batman. I think she thrives and does better on her own. But on the opposite side, I think Felicia works better when she's got somebody helping her along the way, whether it's Mary Jane or Peter or Punisher or Sue Storm, like we got several months ago, right? Even Kingpin got her out of a jam, right?
Yeah.
At the very beginning of this run. So I like that G. Willow Wilson, that she's leaning into that, right, in this, and showing those strengths that Felicia has uh when she is allowed to shine, because she does shine when she's working with somebody else. She doesn't overshadow them, but she doesn't let them overshadow her either. Right? She really can hold her own, and they put her now up against several different people. Venom, Mary Jane is Venom, Venom still being the, big, bulky, crazy, normal Venom, not the new Mary Jane one that's going to come out where she's fully, I guess, symbioticized with the symbiote, right? So now it's going to be a female instead of a male. But, all of that was great because there was a real shift in dynamic between when she was dealing with Mary Jane and when she was dealing with Venom, right? And that's kind of where I'm reminiscent of that with this interaction with Punisher. And they have great chemistry. They just do. Frank and her have wonderful chemistry together. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad that they decided, rather than do a limited run, to just let this be ongoing.
I agree.
I do miss that this was the first A cover that wasn't done by Adam Hughes, um, which makes sense because he's going to be focusing on his health now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, not that this, and it's, who was it? It was Jose Maria Casanovas. And you really have to say this is really an homage to Adam Hughes' style,
Oh, it definitely is.
right? So I love
Very heavily
that about
inspired.
it, but it was kind of sad to
Yeah.
not see his art on the cover. And then last but not least, as you showed, but I have a different cover. I got this one.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I like the dual swords. I love her dress and the blood coming off of her fangs, and I love her red and black hair. Um, the This is also by the main artist, so it is the Luca Pizzari cover. Just one of the other ones that she did, and this story was just phenomenal. From the opening few banners, like, oh yeah, okay, we're here to bring you in, and just, yeah, no, okay, I'll just go pirate then. Since you're saying I'm a pirate, and this piece of paper saying that I'm actually a privateer, this letter of marque means nothing. So fine, I'm gonna go be a pirate, and we're gonna kill you all.
And I love that. I love
I
that
was just
energy.
like sold. This is like
It's so
page two,
fun.
guys. I was sold, and it just got better from there. Uh, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. Um, is this chick gonna get away? Right? Is she? Yeah, because she's just, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's gonna be really, really, really interesting. Um, Never heard of the person who's writing it, but sold. Yep, Vampirates. I saw the name in the video that I was watching as I was getting dressed before I came in on Wednesday, and I was just like, yeah, I have to read that. Just the name, I'm sold.
I love the
So
exclamation mark
that's,
too.
yeah.
Like
I do have
vampire.
one honorable mention, which was the ash can that you put in my box.
Yes.
I cannot wait for this to come out. It
I
is totally not,
do.
you would think, my thing, but Teeny has me very intrigued. With a woman who's dying and she doesn't know why, and she can weaponize it at will. I'm sold.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very, very interesting.
It
Is it
didn't gross
coming
me out as
out
much as
this
I thought.
month or next month?
I believe the end of this month.
It doesn't. Oh, never mind. July 22nd. It's on the back
Okay,
page
I
of the
thought
ash
so.
can.
Cool, cool.
July 22nd. So a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and then it's, and it's good timing because Ripcord is going to end either this month or next, and what else is ending this month? A couple others. Jessica Jones is ending this month. Moonstar is ending this month.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm very sad about Moonstar.
So yeah, so all right. So that was my honorable mention. Sicko, looking forward to that coming out. Teeny Howard, I love her, so I will
Mm-hmm.
read anything she writes. I've also heard that she's bringing Marion Heretic back for something. I don't know if it's going to be another like chapter or if it's going to be a different story and it's just going to have her in it. But that's not coming out till late fall, is what Teeny said on her Instagram.
I think Teeny's also doing the one shot for Raven from Teen Titans.
That could be it as
I
well,
think that's
and
coming.
I
I think
might
it's like
get
a
that
one
because,
shot in September.
yeah, Raven's kind of interesting, and
I
I didn't
love
realize that was
Raven.
going to just be a one shot.
Hmm.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd get a whole series about Raven, but I'd get a one shot because I do
I'm
think
pretty
she's
sure.
she's fascinating.
I love Raven so much. I want a lot of her, but I think it's just gonna be a one shot if I remember. We'll see.
My daughter and her son went as Raven and
Beast Boy.
Beast Boy last year for
That's so cute.
Halloween. It was really cute. Okay, so we're done with our comics. Sorry that we're not doing 2 weeks worth. I actually was very ill and I didn't get a chance to read much of what came out the week before. So that was part of the reason we were on our hiatus. So we were only doing this week. So I apologize if you were expecting to see us do like a top 10 instead of a top 5. But we are going to move right into our pop culture discussions. Uh, so we've already kind of talked about the Absolute Batman coming
Hmm.
to animated show near us, and they haven't even really said who was going to do it either. They didn't say whether it was going to be Amazon or HBO or Warner Brothers Direct, Paramount Plus. They didn't give anything. They just said it's going to be an animated show.
I
So
think
we
they're
don't
doing that on purpose.
maybe I'm hoping that they just like we already said. I'm hoping that they wait. Um, I got to see the Mandalorian and Grogu back last month, uh, and I enjoyed it. And Krista has seen that, and she's seen Supergirl. I admit I have not seen Supergirl, mainly because the character doesn't mean enough to me to pay full ticket price to go see them at a theater when I can wait. And I already give HBO a lot of my money and I can wait and see it in the privacy of my own home with my free popcorn and my free drinks.
Fair. Totally fair.
But I do intend to see it, even though I've read a lot of bad press about it. I've read some
Hmm.
good press about it too, but the bad has definitely outweighed the good. Same with Mandalorian and Grogu. And I agree with some of them negative, and I agree with some of the positive on both. I cannot comment on Supergirl other than what I've seen in the trailers and what my opinions that were formed prior to seeing it. And of course, I have to reserve full judgment until I've actually seen the movie. Um, so, why don't you kick us off? Which did you think was the better movie just as an overall movie?
Um, well, I'll start off by saying I really enjoyed both movies. Um, I'll get more into Supergirl next. Let's talk about Mandalorian Grogu first, since that's something we've both seen.
Yep.
Um, I really liked it, but these days the world is so crazy, everything is so expensive. I just
Mhm.
want something that is worth my time and my money.
Yep.
So I did not regret seeing The Mandalorian and Grogu. I thought it was a very fun movie, and I thought it did a good job of introducing characters that are only on Disney Plus to audiences of the movies who don't have access to Disney Plus.
Fair point. Fair point.
So I thought it was a decent job. It felt so much like an arc in a season that was a
Mhm.
bit disappointing. But overall, I thought it was fun. Um, I thought like the the 3D and stuff was actually done fairly well. So, and the story was a bit generic, but it was still fun. So, I wasn't mad at it. I watched it twice. So, I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it. As we were talking in the pre-show before we came live, I laughed, I
Yeah.
cried, I in the appropriate places. I did feel like I was watching a glorified TV episode.
Yes.
So for me, on our limited budget and the fact that we go to so few movies, for us, it for me, I want that blockbuster feel for the amount of money. And it isn't even for the tickets, right? I
Yeah.
can understand paying $12, $15 a ticket, right? That doesn't bother me. It's the way that they stab you for the food and the drinks that are 5 times more expensive than they are at the 7-Eleven next door to the movie theater. But you're not supposed to put that one from 7-Eleven in your bag and
You're
bring it
not
in with
supposed
you.
to.
Yeah, I know lots of people do, but technically you can get thrown out if you get caught doing
If you
that,
get caught, yeah.
right? And and I do know a lot of people that do that, but at the same time, you go for the experience, you go for the popcorn, you go for, oh my gosh, this is practically the only place in town I can get Pepsi on tap anywhere because this is such a Coke area, right? Most movie theaters have Pepsi products versus Coke. Um,
I never thought of
and
that.
you know, so it didn't have that blockbuster feel to me. Um, I, it was still incredibly entertaining, but I'm not sure that. And we spent a little more because John ordered a drink and he wanted, like food. And so, all said and done, it was an $80 night and it was not worth $80, right? So for me, that was disappointing because even though I loved the CGI, I did not think it was cheesy at all. I thought it was better done than they do on the TV show. You could see that's where the budget went,
Yeah.
right? I love that we got more of Grogu's personality, but there were times when the writing fell flat.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we're all being a little more critical now that we have such a smorgasbord of content out there to look at between all of the streaming services and all of the movies that are coming out of Hollywood. And this choice, overloading. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Um, that's exactly it, Fuzzy Ewok. It wasn't a blockbuster, but it was an enjoyable night out. It just wasn't worth what we spent on. And that, I will say, kind of has influenced me staying home from Supergirl because she isn't a character that I spend a lot of my energy into in the comic world, right? Even though she's a strong female, she hits all the check boxes for somebody that you think I would read, but she's just never been part of my repertoire for
Mm-hmm.
reading her, right? So it made me less likely to, when I heard that there were parts of it that the writing fell flat, that there was a one-dimensional villain. These are the criticisms that I heard from a lot of people that saw it and still said they enjoyed it, but agreed that the writing could have been better. The villain was one dimensional, and you could say some of that same thing about the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, it's gonna sound silly, right? But if you're a longtime Star Wars fan and you happen to have watched Rebels, okay, you got 2 episodes in Rebels about Jabba's son when he was
Mm-hmm.
little, right? And he's a little baby, and they have to save him. And Ezra, and they save the day, and Ezra saves him, and all this. I could not watch that character on the screen and not see that baby from Rebels, right? And that's on me, right? That's my assumption. That's where my brain went. But I had a really hard time equating that character as this gladiator dude, as this little Jabba the Hutt baby from Rebels, right? I love Zeb. Like, they took Zeb right out of the cartoon. That he was probably, for me, one of the best parts in the whole
I
movie.
wanted more of him.
I did. I wanted more of him too. Maybe we'll get more of him in Ahsoka.
I hope
maybe.
so, but I feel like this is like I feel like I keep saying I hope I get more of this character and then I don't.
And then you don't,
I feel like
right? And
I feel
that's
like Disney keeps just like teasing us and then moving on, and I'm like, no, actually, like,
exactly,
yeah, how quickly he
exactly.
was. Yeah.
Yes.
But
So, so long story short, entertaining movie.
yeah,
Did it have some pitfalls in the writing as far as not being like movie blockbuster and being more like an episodic, just like a longer episode of The Mandalorian? Yes, but I don't necessarily think that was that bad of a thing in the long run,
yeah.
right? Because I really think that they're hoping that the blockbuster is going to come in the movie that they're going to make where everybody comes together, where they bring Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka all together on one in one story. That's gonna be the big blockbuster. Will I go see that in the theater? Absolutely. I've been a Star Wars nerd since 1978 when the original came out. My parents, we had to wait in line. And I think my brother and I must have dragged our parents to see that 3 or 4 times that
Hmm.
first year that it was out. I had the record album that recited the entire film. I've always been a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan, so I'm there, right? But I wish that Filoni and John Favreau, I wish that they would have just maybe made it just a little bit more of a blockbuster.
I felt like
Um,
they held back a little bit on some plot points. It felt a lot like they were like there's a lot of stuff cooking in the background,
mhm.
especially on like the rebel base, but we're not focusing on that because they still are trying to gauge how much they trust Mando.
Yeah,
And also they're trying to figure out how much they want to reveal to the audience where everybody like we know what the outcome is. We know the rest of the movies. This is
absolutely.
like in between trilogies. But
Yes.
we but it still feels like it felt like they were holding back a little bit and trying to just
Mhm.
show
Yeah.
Mando and Grogu building their bond, which I loved.
Oh, absolutely. That
Um,
was the
I
most
keep
heartwarming. Him, Grogu showing up with the little midget dudes and like, oh, we're gonna save the day. I was just so uh we're
yeah,
gonna talk about that in just a second.
yeah,
As soon
we'll
as
get
we,
there.
yeah, we are gonna get there because
Yeah.
I have
We have
lots
thoughts.
to say on that subject.
But I
Um,
feel like this movie should have been Grogu in The Mandalorian and not Mando, Mandalorian and
yes.
Grogu because it was very much a Grogu movie. I'm not complaining about that part.
No, no, no,
I've heard
no.
a
But
lot of
I
people
do think that
complaining.
it kind of was reversed, and we got more Grogu than we normally get. And he's really starting to find that not only is the puppeteer really getting better at showing the emotion and all that, but the writing is really, he's finding his own.
I've heard a lot of people complain, and I actually really enjoyed the like montage showing like Grogu on his own.
Yes.
Like, did it go on a little bit too long? There's an argument for that. I'm not going to argue that. It was a bit long, but I actually liked seeing him like on his own and using all the tools and knowledge that previous Jedi have given him and Mando has given him and being with the rebels has given him like all the knowledge he
Yes.
has. He knew how to forge. He knew to cover and protect Mando. He knew to build a hut and to meditate on the hut, which was a huge, huge wink to Yoda.
Yep.
They even confirmed that. So and he knew to like go and he knows that he cannot catch a
Yeah.
fish. He is smaller than the fish in that lake, and there's scary things in that lake. So he knew to go and steal one.
Yep.
So, and he made friends with that guy. So with the
Yeah.
fisherman. So I liked that montage. I like that
Yeah.
we saw the evolution of him.
Agreed.
So
Yeah,
I
I that was
fun
probably
movie.
what the highlight of the movie for me.
Me too.
For
I thought
anybody
it
who didn't like that, I'm sorry. That was like the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah,
So,
I liked it.
so All right. So should we answer Fuzzy Ewok's question, or do you want to talk about Supergirl first?
Ooh. All right, let's get Supergirl out of the way.
Okay. All right. So I haven't seen it.
Right.
These are the critiques. I started to say some of them. I'm going to list the things that I heard, and then I want your take on
Okay.
them. Okay.
Right.
So I heard that the villain is one dimensional,
Mm-hmm.
that the writing could have been much better, that the needle drops felt out of disjointed and out of place as opposed to how brilliantly he did needle drops in the three Guardians of the Galaxies. That Momoa, as you, me, and Mike all said he would, chews up the scenery when he's on screen, but fortunately he's not on screen very long.
Mm.
And that the biggest complaint that I heard from some of my friends who have younger girls was that they expected it to be a inspirational movie to take their kids to, and were turned off by her drinking, by the roughneck, true grit kind of atmosphere of the movie, that they felt wasn't giving their daughters the right message. Um, I've also heard that Millie Alcock was amazing. That she nails the character of Supergirl. That um, it was very like Mad Max, True Grit, like very westerny as far as that trope is. This young girl's lost her family, goes and seeks the drunk older hero to come help her seek revenge, and they then help each other realize that revenge doesn't necessarily the answer, right? Total western trope, right? um I don't think that per se is a bad thing, though, because that trope works in a lot of circumstances. And you said something to me when we were talking when I saw you last Monday. You had mentioned that this isn't a superhero. Like, she's not that for the majority of this movie. She becomes that. She's traumatized. She is somebody dealing with PTSD, and that's how she's dealing with life, and it isn't necessarily good for her, no, but that's what people do when they're dealing with trauma that they don't know how to deal with, right? um and that it's much more of a finding yourself. Like, by the end of the movie, she has kind of stepped out of that I'm drinking myself into a stupor to forget my past, right? And kind of embraced the Supergirl that she's eventually going to be, right? And that made me think in a different way about all these people that were complaining that it was too dark, and that they didn't like that she was drinking all the time and drowning her sorrows. But that made me think about it in a completely different, like almost like in a deer hunter way. Do you know what I mean? Okay. It makes it a completely different movie when when you go into it thinking it's going to be a female version of a Superman movie, all hope, justice in the American way, and that's not what you get. You get true grit and space, right? You're kind of in years that shell shocks you, right? But when you think about what her story is, right, compared to Clark's story, and I think that's the key, right? Her story, he left as a baby. He has no memory of any of that. She was a teenager. She was supposed to go back in time when, her ship, and she should have been on Earth even before Clark, right? But
Mm-hmm.
things happened and her ship got all messed up. But she actually lived through that nastiness, right? Of course, they're going to have two completely different outlooks on life. Take it away since you've seen it. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, most of you and I have actually talked about it, and I have very strong feelings about this movie, and I'm going to try to be careful and not give a spoiler away in it. I really enjoyed Supergirl. I actually saw it twice.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed it. I think the main reasons people are not liking it, besides everything is just so expensive and people just can't go and see a movie just because the world is so expensive right now.
Right.
Like you brought up.
Right. Which is
I
mainly what's keeping me away.
absolutely, and that's valid.
Yeah.
If I didn't have like a movie pass to like the movie theater, I would be doing the same thing. Which is why I'm able to go to movies. But I think people are getting stuck on the title, the two words, super and girl.
Mm-hmm.
People think it's either going to be a Superman movie or they think that it's going to be a movie for little girls. And it's going to be an inspiration movie for little girls.
Right.
She is not a little girl. She is a girl. She is a girl. She's a woman who has dealt with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And so she has a lot more. Everyone compares it to Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're all a bunch of trauma
Yeah,
babies.
they're all misfits, all brought together because
Absolutely.
of their
And
various trauma.
and that's who she is. She is a misfit. She doesn't know what her purpose is, what's going on. She's lost everybody. She was forced on this new planet with new language and doesn't know her purpose. So yeah, so I don't fault her for being like, screw this, I'm gonna go and drink on a planet because I want to, forget my problems.
Yeah.
Is that inspirational for little girls? Maybe not. But is it real? Yes.
Yes.
Now, people who are complaining about how I'm gonna no spoilers for this. Compare it to the comic Woman of Tomorrow. That book, that Tom King story from what was it, like 2022,
2020?
2022? I think it
Something,
ended
yeah.
in roughly, is not exactly how this climate can be. I don't think that story is the ending is people are very, very upset about. I will argue that that ending cannot happen in this movie. People want the ending from the comic. That would not fit with the story of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we will discuss that further in a month or so after it comes out streaming and you've seen it, because I really
Okay.
want to talk to you about it. So I'm
Okay.
not going to go any further.
Right.
But that's a whole argument that I will argue.
Okay.
But yeah, the villain was not great. He was just kind of there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't as scary as I wanted him to be. I will say the biggest complaint that I had going into this movie, the biggest fear, I should say, not complaint, the biggest fear I had going into this movie, you and Mike and I talked about, was Jason Momoa. I
Mm-hmm.
will say he stole every scene he was in, but he did not take away from the movie like I was worried. I
Okay.
think
I heard that as well.
he actually kind of like his character kind of expanded the universe, in my
Yeah.
opinion. You're like, oh, there's other people and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
also we know that Kara has met other people in the
Yeah.
universe and stuff. And he was a huge comic relief in the movie. I thought that he was perfect to kind of balance in the movie.
Yeah, and I heard on
Complemented it
the
very
plus
well.
side that he wasn't overused either. That they
No.
used him just the right amount. That he didn't
Yeah.
overshadow her, but they allowed him to shine in the area that he was in.
Yes, and a lot of people said that I know people that I have met said that they thought that there should have been more Lobo in the movie. I feel like if they had like a little bit more Lobo in the movie, it would have become a Supergirl Lobo movie. I think he was there just enough for the comic relief, to show that there's a purpose of him being in the movie, and to do what he needs to do in the
Right.
movie.
The
But
fan
I
and
don't
the
think it was
fandom
I don't
come
think it was tasteful.
everybody wanted him to be Lobo. from the time he was cast as Aquaman.
Oh my
Everybody said,
gosh.
"Why Aquaman? He is the perfect Lobo. Why are you casting him as Aquaman?" And you know, so I think that there was some of that, right?
Yes.
They
I
were
wanted
hoping to
so more
draw
Lobo.
in those fanboys and fangirls just on that, right? He had the name recognition,
Yes.
right? So his name, even though she's the star, they were able to swing in on his name recognition because she didn't have any, right? Even though she was very good in House of Dragons, she really was only in half of the first season,
Yes.
you know, and nobody knew who she was, and she's an English actress, right? And that's a whole nother issue that I have with Hollywood right now about how we can't seem to cast American people in anything. Everybody has got to be from New Zealand or Australia or England. You know, I guess we don't have any decent actors in this country, but that's besides the point, right? Um,
That doesn't bother me as long as they're good at acting.
yeah, I try to think about it that way, but sometimes I feel like, you know, maybe they're acting more in those in films in those other countries that we're not seeing. So, you know, I just kind of wish that we would see more of our of names that are big that are American names. But again, if they're a decent actor, it shouldn't matter. Um, I am looking forward to seeing it. You know, it's funny because I was reading all of the nitpicky commentary, you know, and
Don't
people
read it.
were trashing all of the boys that were like, oh, she's not good looking enough, and oh, you know, she's
That
always
was
got
a
a
huge
scowl
thing
on her
too. There's a
face.
lot of
I thought that she had been, you know, looking at Supergirl covers from years ago, looking at Supergirl long before Millie Alcock was ever even considered, before they were even going to make a movie. They could not have cast a woman better for looking like Supergirl. She looked like somebody had stepped right out of the comic,
she played her
right?
so well. Even her acting, she was spot on. She was exactly what I wanted Kara to
So
be.
and I did hear really good things about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But you know, they talked about how, oh, it's bombed, it's worse than the Marvels, it's worse than uh the Quantum Realm, the one movie, the
Nothing will
last
be
one with Kang,
worse than that movie.
um, and how
I will never
terrible
get
those movies
that toy
were.
back.
I didn't actually think those movies were all that bad. Same thing. They weren't fabulous. They were not Iron Man or Endgame, but they were entertaining, right? Are you mad because I didn't think that you're good enough to go spend the money at the movie theater? But I'm still on the numbers that watched it on your streaming service. So I'm still watching your product, you
Yeah.
know. And I didn't think those movies, again, they were not the level of those, Winter Soldier, the very first Iron Man, the Infinity War, Endgame. Those four movies were, probably upper echelon, right, of what Marvel's put out in the last 20 years, right? No, it was not upper echelon, but it was still entertaining. And that's what I'm hoping to get from Supergirl. That it's entertaining. The same
I found
thing with Mandalorian and Grogu. That says good things that you've seen it twice to me, because I hadn't known a lot of people that saw it multiple times.
I saw Supergirl twice. I saw it the first time. My parents actually really wanted to see, and they asked if I would go with them because
Okay,
I made them see Superman
right.
last year, and they really wanted to see Supergirl. And we all walked out of the theater, and we were like, "That was actually really good." We
Okay,
actually
good.
really enjoyed it. And then I took my friends to go see it, and I liked it better the second time.
You liked it better the second time.
I liked
Okay,
it the first time, and I liked it more the second time because I got to
okay,
enjoy it more. And I think it was also because there were maybe like two scenes roughly that I was just kind of meh about the first time, and the second time I knew they were coming.
mm-hmm.
And so when I saw like those scenes coming on, I was like, okay, it wasn't as bad the second time watching it as it was the
Right.
first time.
Okay.
But overall, I thought it was worth my time. I thought it was worth
Okay.
my energy. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of positivity for women in the movie. I think it was also very much not for the like aimed for the male gaze, and I think
Right.
that was a lot of issues. Stereotypical men, movie men, comic men, what have you, anyone in the male gaze generically, even
Yeah.
the she and theys. I don't think it was aimed for that demographic.
Yeah.
So I think that they received it a lot worse.
Right.
And I think their criticism was a lot harsher because it wasn't as pandering.
Yeah.
There wasn't any of that kind of fun sense of humor that is tends to be aimed that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very female centric.
Yeah.
So, and she is also not even like, you know, Gal Gadot or someone who's older. She's a
Yeah.
younger girl, so you
Yeah.
can't even be like, oh well, it's not like it's a whatever movie, but at least she's hot. She is. I think she's very beautiful, but she's
Yeah.
also younger.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
but
Okay.
overall, I think it was a good movie.
Overall, was worth it. Well, I'm
I
looking
think so.
forward to seeing it. So I guess end of August we will have this discussion again.
Yeah, I definitely want a Supergirl Part 2 conversation.
Absolutely. 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 And we'll probably also have conversations after Brand New Day because that I know I want to
Yes.
see that in the theater.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing
And
that.
I'm actually, I don't know if you're going to see this or not. I'm really contemplating going to see the Odyssey. I
Oh,
grew,
I'm going next week.
but are you really? I
Yeah.
really want to see it. My dad, I grew
I'm a huge
up
movie buff.
having being read the Iliad and the Odyssey. My
Mhm.
dad minored in ancient Greek, and he would read me when I was real little, and I didn't know what he was saying, right? But he would
Mhm.
read it to me in ancient Greek. So that's how he
Mhm.
would keep the language up, right? So I literally grew up hearing that in its original context. Um, and it's one of my favorite, mythical stories from literally from, I was knee high to a grasshopper. And I'm really looking for, because Christopher Nolan just does most of the time, just does such an amazing job, cinematography wise, writing wise, directing wise. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I don't have any complaints about the quote unquote, we're going to go back to that word, woke casting. I don't care that they I can't pronounce her name, but she played Black Panther's partner uh in the Marvel
Lupita
movie.
Nyong'o.
Yes.
Oh
I
my
could
god.
care less that she's Helen of Troy. She's a beautiful woman. Anybody, that part of the world looked at what we didn't even have a concept of what we consider race today. Like the ancient Greek world, even before Rome, they did not have a concept of race like we do, right? So to
Yeah.
me, that is completely believable.
Yeah.
I don't care about Elliot Page being in the movie and playing, who they're playing. None of that bothers me. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Matt Damon does with Odysseus. Um, he's got big footsteps to fill because I'm a big fan of the 90s miniseries that Armand Asante did
Ooh.
as Odysseus. So it was like a 5, 6 episode thing that I think ABC did back in the 90s. This was still when miniseries were still happening on network TV. Might actually have been one of the first things TNT did, actually, now if I
Oh.
remember correctly. But anyway, it's if you've never seen it, check it out. I think you can watch it for free on YouTube. It's amazing. And so that's what I'm going to be comparing Christopher Nolan's to. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think he will have good hands on that. And yes, so Fuzzy Rock, I
I definitely want to
don't
talk to them
blame
about
you.
their
I
thoughts.
I think that the focus on her looks is atrocious. I also think it's part of the society that we live in today, for better or for worse.
Agreed.
Right? We have made sex, looks, what people look like, how they behave over the last 40 years. You know, we have taken our society in that direction. I don't think that it's the right direction. Unfortunately, I'm a minority in that opinion, apparently. Um, but again, as I said before, anybody who doesn't think that she was brilliantly cast has not ever seen a Supergirl cover, because to me, she looked just like her, you know. And I also think that, so, and I thought this on on House of Dragons, she has one of those, my dad used to call them anger faces, because I would think my dad was angry. He'd be staring at a book, he'd be reading a book, or he'd be watching something on TV, and he'd have this look on his face that made it seem like he was pissed off at the world. Right. And I'd be like, why are you mad? And he'd then get this bewildered look on his face, like, I'm not mad.
It's
You
a
know,
strong
they
face.
call it a resting bitch face now,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Millie has a very
Billy Walker
strong
has
face.
that, whatever
She's got a
proper
very
term you
strong
want to call
face,
it. She's
and
got
I
a
love
very
it.
strong featured. She has that resting face that kind of gives her that edginess, that badass. I'm pissed off at something. I have a chip on my shoulder that maybe I don't want to mess with you look, right?
Mm.
Whatever you want to call it, right? I think that that works brilliantly for how they have written her in everything that I've read about the movie, right?
Mhm.
As we were talking about the trauma, this is a woman who's running from her pain. Yes, she's a young woman, but she's still, you know, she's still running from pain. And that's kind of, to me, that quote unquote look plays into that even better. But even without it, she still looked like the comic, right? To me,
Yeah.
that's what I want to see
She
as
looked like
as
a
a
girl
viewer.
and not a big woman, which is what she's supposed to be.
Yes,
In a lot of comics and a lot of
Power Girl's
animation,
the
she's
one
a
with the,
full-grown woman. She looked like a
yes,
girl, which is what she's
she,
supposed to.
exactly, exactly.
But strong, a
And I
strong
do think
girl.
that people are power girling her in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? They're like,
Yep.
can't separate the two,
Yeah.
right? Because yes, they're the same, but they're different, right? And they went in thinking they were going to get that. They were going to get some sexy, big boobed Power
Well,
Girl
that's what I'm saying.
version of Kara, and that isn't what they got. And
That's what's
again,
been
there's a
annoying
lot of
me.
those fanboys. Oh, excuse me.
Bless
Oh,
you.
excuse me again.
Bless
Oh my
you.
goodness.
Is that,
But
yeah,
I
people
think
are
that they
saying
went
that.
in, like you were saying, that it was not geared. If it had been geared to them, that's what she would have looked more like Power Girl than Supergirl, right? It wasn't geared to them. It was geared towards, I think it was geared towards your generation. I think it was geared towards the younger Gen X, the older millennials, that have experienced life maybe not as ideal as everybody wants it, that can understand trauma, that can
That's,
understand, and and that's not that happy-go-lucky superhero movie, Superman superhero movie. So that was jarring to people,
I think that's
right?
another reason why I really like this movie. You brought up a good point, is the fact that, like, I think I connect with certain topics in the movie on a personal level, so it spoke a lot to me. And
Mm,
also, Kara, I thought, was very relatable for a girl who had so much expectations
hmm.
and then was given this like promise, like she was given this like purpose, and
Right.
then that purpose kind of went away, and now she is just in this depression of like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, and just in this
So
holding
she
pattern,
went
not a
on one
healthy
track.
holding pattern.
So just like a young girl being lost, and then her constantly like being told what is the right way, what is the wrong way, don't go that way, you have to go this way.
Right.
you're supposed to do this, and she's like, I am dealing with so much right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Please
I'm not
don't put
doing
any
that.
more on my plate.
Yeah. Like,
I
I'm
can't.
not
I
doing
can't.
this.
Yeah,
Sometimes self-care is kind of wrecking yourself. You have to hit rock bottom before you can soar to the top. So,
absolutely.
not that that's always a good message, but at the same time, it's a real message. So
Right.
I think I also will fight for this movie just for the fact that that was very relatable for me.
Hmm.
And I think that is very relatable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So is it comic book Supergirl? No, because she is not comic book and she's not Supergirl. She is Kara
Yeah.
becoming Supergirl.
Yeah.
So this
Right.
is her origin story. Kind of
Yeah.
like how Superman was he had been super it even said in the beginning scroll of Superman from last year. It even said he'd only been Superman for what, like 3 years?
Yeah.
He was still messing up. He was still like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. That big, beautiful speech that he gave at the very end of the movie, where, to Lex, he's like, look, I mess up. I still get up and I try to do my best. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Kara's not there yet.
Yeah. Right.
But they're still very early in their stories.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like these movies are giving them so early because a lot of
Hmm.
DC movies are like dropped in the middle. So I like
Yes.
the origin stories. But yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Well, now I'm looking forward to seeing it. So after hearing you talk about it even more, and the more I've read, I definitely am looking forward to seeing it. All right. Well, are we good on Supergirl?
Good
Let's
on
move
Supergirl.
into this conversation, which I think is important. I'm going to put up this fuzzy Ewoks thing again. Um, I really hate the fact that they want us to pay in perpetuity for things that we used to be able to own. So I was appalled at Marvel saying that they're going to go completely digital,
Mm-hmm.
except for a few select titles. Well, I hate to tell you, Marvel, but if you expect me to read on my Kindle, I'm just not gonna. I just don't like it. I don't want to have to lift each panel to be able to read it. It disrupts the whole thing. I want a comic in my hand. So if you're going to take any of these titles that I like that aren't your mainstream people, and you're not going to give me a physical comic anymore, you're not going to get my money anymore. That's how I feel about it.
Listen, it's also such a slap in the face because think about what Marvel was. Marvel Comics.
Hmm.
So if they're getting rid of the physical media of it, they're also destroying their legacy.
Yes. Yes.
Because how
What
many
happens if I
people
don't have a device? Or somebody like, you can't read it on because you don't have a device now. You can't go to your local comic store and get the comic. How fair is that?
comics
Again,
comics started out as like, stories for like newspaper
yeah.
kids. So it started out as like we're gonna do these like fun cartoons that are inspiring for um
See, that's the other thing that
we're gonna
bothers
get into
me
that part in a second
because
as
they
well.
change it. So, like, for example, you can't watch Gone with the Wind if you do not own a DVD, Blu-ray, or VHS of Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you cannot watch it
That's
anywhere on streaming right now
yeah.
because Warner Brothers, or whoever owns it, hasn't decided how to appropriately edit it or remark on the way that it glorifies the Southern
How
cause
racist
and
it
the
was.
way the enslaved were treated, and it's got all these historical inaccuracies, right? Dogma is off the shelves now. He just re-released it, so they just put out it again, but it is not the same Dogma as my 1990 DVD sitting
Mm-hmm.
downstairs because they edited certain things out of the movie that they wouldn't let Kevin Smith and Askew Productions put in that movie today. So
Mm-hmm.
you watch the movie, you go get a Blu-ray or a DVD, of which you probably can't do because they're almost impossible to find anymore, right? Except in
Mm-hmm.
bargain bins, right? But you go get that movie on streaming and you compare it to the DVD, and it's not the same, because on the streaming services they can edit it
Yeah.
to their heart's content, right? They can change story, they can actually change whole scenes, you know. So I do think that virtual ownership, I think they're ripping us off on multiple levels. So, like, down to our software. Like, I refuse to pay Microsoft $9.99 a month because my mom paid for me to have a lifetime license through the school that I was going to for my PhD, and it was a $500 fee, right? We
Mhm.
paid that outright, and it's a lifetime license. Now, it's a pain in the ass because technically the administrators of that program are the school still, right? But Microsoft keeps telling me, well, you should probably give us the $9 a month because it's not tied to my Gmail, right? And it's tied to my school email that I still have. Why the should I pay Microsoft $10 a month when I already gave them $500 for a lifetime membership? You used to be able to go to any Staples or Office Depot and get the CD for
Mhm.
$800, right? So even if they want to charge $9.99, well, you used to sell the program for $800 flat, right? So as soon as your customer hits $800, you should legally not be able to charge them that $9 anymore, because that's the monetary value you put on the program, right? Now with these perpetual licenses that they've done on music, movies, comics that are on Kindle, like, you have to actually be signed into a different cosmology or something like that to read
Comicsology.
comics on Kindle, right? Can't just be through Kindle, right? But perpetually paying these people, you have now inflated the value by a ridiculous amount of money. You're telling the company that this has a perpetual value when they used to have a finite value. If I buy a comic, it's $4.99, $3.99, $2.99, depending on, who's selling the comic, and whether it's if it's a variant, it might be $6.99, right?
Yeah.
That's the value. Why do you want to charge me this amount of money a month, and I might read that one title, but you're charging me more a month than that one title costs? I just,
Convenient.
and then I don't own it, because at any time you can decide that you don't want that in your library anymore, and it's gone, like Gone with the Wind, right? It's no
Yeah.
longer available on anybody's library in their streaming services. And that's not the only movie,
Oh no,
right?
there's
They
several.
deem it inappropriate, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Or the thing that kills me is all the different streaming sites. They'll lose licenses. Like
Yes.
a movie will be on Netflix for like 2 years, and then they'll move it all of a sudden to like Amazon or Hulu. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
can't keep up with all of these.
No, and then I have paid Amazon 14.99 or 19.99 or whatever to have the physical copy of the movie,
Hmm.
right? Well, okay, it does give me the option to download that said file
Hmm.
onto the hard drive of my computer. However, I can't just use any service to pull up said file and watch it. I can only watch it on Amazon Prime. Now,
Yeah.
what happens? I don't think this is going to happen, but what happens if Bezos dies tomorrow and by the end of 2027, Amazon no longer exists?
Exactly, because then you lose it,
What
but you
happened
won't
to the
pay them
movies
that.
that you say I own, but I don't really own, because now you're defunct and you won't give me access anymore?
Yeah. I mean,
It sometimes, but at the same
nothing but I'm
time,
saying.
they have blocked pirating as well. um, not that I'm in any way saying pirating is a good thing, because it's not, right? But for example, my brother had P90X, right? And he wanted to share it with me, and he downloaded them all on CD, and then he sent me the CDs. But there was something in the file of P90, right, that would not allow that file to be played
That's
on a
hilarious.
Windows file, unless it's kind of like what Apple does. Apple takes your music and they put a little number code embedded into the file of your music,
Yeah.
right? And then if you go to play that file on like Wave, like Windows player versus an Apple player, it'll flag
Yeah.
that it can't play the file. You're going to have to convert it into a wave file, right? And then that technically is considered pirating, right? Which is it? If I paid Apple and they made it an MP4, but to play it on my device, I need an MP3. So I use a converting program to take the MP4 that I paid for and convert it to an MP3 to play on this other device. Is that really piracy? I don't think so. I don't think that's any different than taking a album back in the 80s and throwing your tape deck in and recording the album onto your cassette tape so you could play the cassette tape in your car.
I think pirating versus sharing is a little different. So, like, going out of your way to download something that
Mm-hmm.
that no one you know owned
Mm-hmm.
versus versus like making a copy of something, I don't think is considered. I would not consider that pirating.
Right.
I would consider
Same.
that sharing because somebody
Right.
did put the money down to get it.
Right. Right.
So as long as one
Absolutely.
person, there one person at least paid for it. Like,
Right.
the world is too expensive for everyone to have their own of everything. So,
Dude, that's
like,
why we used to
sharing is
share
caring.
albums back in the day.
Yeah, sharing
You
is caring.
know, one of us could buy the Led Zeppelin album, somebody else bought the Pink Floyd album, somebody else bought the REO Speedwagon album, and we all sat around in different houses to play them. And or you sat on the radio. Of course, this is really dating yourselves, but you sat with your tape player with your fingers on the button, waiting
Yep.
for the song to come on the radio. So then you could hit record, but then you had to be right there to hit the pause as soon as the song ended. But
I
at
did that
the
with books
same
though.
time, okay, maybe that was called making a mixtape. Everybody did it. Nobody
Yeah.
cared, right? Now all of a sudden we have all these digital files, and you know, I want the artists to get paid. They should totally get paid. They work hard for their money, right? They create it. They should get paid. I don't have a problem paying Apple or Spotify to own the song, right? Say, okay, well, I want to download this. I want this on my hard drive. I want to have the MP4, the MP3 file to play on any device at any time that I want. So I'm going to give you the $3.99 or the $9.99 for the album, right? And you're going to give me that digital license so that then I'm not stealing, right? So the
Yeah.
person who made the music is getting paid, just like we buy a book on Kindle, right? We're buying it, the author's getting paid, right? Um, I don't have any problem with that. I have the problem when the people that are saying that we have only the license and that they can take that license away, or they can just decide that we can't see something anymore. That bothers me. The censorship is what bothers me the most. And
Christmas in July wishes.
no, really, and it's so funny because now I kick myself, right? When I was moving here from Washington, I had over 500 DVDs and Blu-rays, and I had probably 1,000 CDs, and I spent months taking all of my CDs and pulling them from the CD onto my computer, onto a portable hard drive. And then I got rid of all the CDs, except for a handful that were important to me for various reasons, right? So literally, I now have like maybe 25 CDs instead of 1,000. The movies I took from 600, 500, 600 down to about 180, right? So like everything fits now in my little DVD cabinet, right? My tapes, my CDs, and my movies all fit in there. I even have a couple of VHSs left. Um, and you know, I am now kind of regretting that because I'm like what we were just talking about. Now I don't own these these movies anymore. Now I only own a license, and Amazon could take that license away from me at any time. Um, See, that's kind of where I am. Like I have now more because Apple wants more money. Like it's not enough that I paid them hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy albums from my, from artists. They You can't listen to that streaming. They want you to pay for their Apple Radio, right? And that's what they want to stream. In my opinion, they should let me stream the music that I paid for. Right. I want to listen to my own library. At least with Spotify, I can go in and say, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. And that's all that's going to play me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you create a playlist.
Right. So, but again, that's not like Fuzzy Ewok was just saying, it's not supporting the artist. They're not getting paid when we're only doing the streaming. When we're paying, because Spotify is paying one overall big fee to Sony Music or BMI Music. They're paying an overall one licensing fee for everything in that music company's catalog, right? So it's up to the music company to make sure that their artists get paid, right? And that's where royalties and all that stuff comes in, where you got to be pretty savvy, or you really or get the low. That's what I think is really shitty about writers, comic creators. We're listening to everything Alan goes through to put out a comic, right? They have made it so expensive to put any content out there, right? That when you start to get successful, you're the last one to get paid.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is taking their chunk. And back to our original topic, I really hope that Marvel doesn't take all of their catalog and take it all digital. I think that they will find a vast disappointment in how many people are willing to make that leap. Now, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And Kindle, Cosmology, whatever name it is, they could be blowing doors off of the number of issues that people are buying and reading. But given the people I see every Wednesday at my small local comic shop, people want hard copy.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm certainly, if they took Black Cat, which is my favorite title Marvel is doing right now, they took that digital, I'd stop reading it rather than read it on my Kindle. Because my Kindle's this big.
But also think
Dude,
of like
my eyes can't deal with that.
You also think of how big comic book covers are as well.
Yes.
So, like Absolute Batman was Harley Quinn this week. I bought every single cover.
And they had some good ones.
Yeah, they did. I got all of them. I got like the 1 in 25. I got all of them.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Absolute. Come with I brought home like 5 covers.
Yeah.
Are you going to give me those on Kindle? Where am I going to display them? Am I going to hang my device on a wall? No, I don't think so.
Does it make things easier for them? But honestly, like, I really like that's the huge thing is the industry is all about physical media. We like having books are at an all-time high. like physical books
I'm
around all
having to
time.
trim my library, and it's traumatizing. Some of these books I've had since I was, a teenager or younger, and
Mhm.
I'm having to decide, what am I getting rid of? What am I going to store? What's going to go out on the shelves now? Because I'm having to take 9 shelves down to 5, you know. And and then I'm gonna have to redo this whole back wall because I got to put bookshelves in here, because the world is changing. We're having a baby, there's gonna be a baby in the house. They need the extra room. So, yeah, but my mom was saying when she moved from Williamsburg up to here in January, my brother made her get rid of all but maybe 10 books total. And those 10 books have
Wow.
some type of real value to her. 1,500 books. They filled the entire back of a pickup truck and the whole back seat and the whole passenger side, right? And all I could think was, I can't get rid of 1,500 books. That'd kill me. I'd never
Oh,
be able to drop my library down that much.
my books are my children.
Yeah, I've
They're
been
going in the casket
collecting.
with me.
I still have my Judy Blooms from
Mhm.
when I was a teenager. I still have my Little House I still have my entire Little House on the Prairie in its box, all 9 books. That's another
Oh,
one that I've heard complaints about. I'm saving judgment until I watch it on Netflix.
which one?
The new Little House on the Prairie.
Uh, never seen it.
Um, I was a big fan of the books and the TV show in the 70s. So we'll see.
I
And
watched some
I've
of the
heard
old.
that it's better. I
I
actually
haven't
have
seen the
heard that
old.
this new one on Netflix is better. The little girl that's playing Laura Ingalls was one of the daughters on the soap opera I watch. And the
Oh,
daughter was evil. And this little girl, she's like 10. She played the heck out of Rachel Black. And this kid was like kidnapping adults and poisoning her dad's girlfriends. And I mean, she was an evil bitch. And this little girl acted the hell out of that. Was really good. And she actually kind of looks a little like Melissa Gilbert from the original TV series. And so she's just like a perfect Laura Ingalls. So, and I've heard she's really good in it. So we'll see. But they put Osage Indians in it, and then in the books the doctor in their main town is black, so they cast him correctly as a black man in this new series. But it was an old white guy in the TV show in the 70s and 80s, and people were complaining about that. And it's like, guys, it was a black man in the book. There were Indians all around them in the books. Just because the TV show in the 70s, Michael Landon didn't want to include that, doesn't mean that it wasn't there, right?
people just want to be
So,
mad.
yeah, haters are gonna hate, you
People
know.
just rage bait themselves. People just want to be mad.
They do. I think it's really, really, really sad because there's so many things to be thankful for in life right now. And don't get me wrong, I do think there's a lot that could improve on life. Cost of living, cost of gas, cost of food, blah, 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 blah. But on the whole, every day we wake up and we're breathing is a good day. So, on that note, wow, we covered a lot this.
We did.
I mean, well, we were on hiatus for 2 weeks. Um, Not sure who our guest is going to be next week, if we're going to have a guest. We usually kind of don't work that out until right around midweek. I know we do have a special guest that still wants to be on, but it's working out a time with their schedule because they work nights. So it's very difficult for them. So we might have to do like a special time and show for that. And I know that Kent Hubbs from Hubbs Comic Pressing
Comic cutter.
and Cleaning, uh, my slabs should be in soon. And we were talking about doing a show with him and then unveiling the slabs with Slab the Sal guy. With Sal the slab guy, not Slab the Sal guy. Wow, I'm totally got
That's a
that
new
backwards.
nickname. No, that's
That's it. Now
canon.
you're Slab the Sal guy. That's
It's
it.
canon
So
now.
it's that way forever. Um, Anyway, I did enjoy being on Codex a couple weeks ago. So thank you guys for having me as always. It was kind of fun. I got to do a little showcase and some comics that I had finished collecting and a whole series. So it was fun. So hopefully, guys, next week we'll have somebody special to chat away with us. But if not, it will definitely be Krista and I. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you had an amazing weekend and a great Sunday night. We will see you same siren time, same siren channel, and see you in the funny papers, folks. Good night.